guys, I'm going to be posting this series of videos on my run and gun loadouts. I talked to lots of guys at these events, especially newer competitors, and a common feedback is that they are constantly changing their loadout or their gear after each run. Maybe their chest rig wasn't just right, maybe they weren't happy with their optics, maybe handguard wasn't placed correctly or something. So I'm going to post videos on what my loadout has stabilized into. The first video will be rifles and chest rig. The next video will be pistol and belt, and after that we'll take a look at night vision and things to consider if you want to run one of these things in the dark. So let's get started. For my rifles, I prioritize reliability, accuracy, and then weight. The gun has to be reliable in dirt, in cold, in hot, in ice, snow, whatever. To run ejection port up if I'm shooting under a barricade or something and I have to tilt the gun on its side. It needs to be accurate. You'll be shooting up to 500 or possibly more yards. So the gun needs to be capable, and you need to be capable of doing your part as well. After that, I put weight. So my guns are a little bit heavier than some that I see on the field, but I know that they are very reliable and very accurate. I'll take another pound or two of weight to make sure that I am capable of making any shot that comes on the shoot time. The base rifle here is a Geissele 16-inch Super Duty. I've made some small changes, handguard, grip, stock, but the base rifle is still a Geissele 16-inch Super Duty. These are both loot from Cola Warriors. Mr. Bill is very generous, so thank you to Geissele and Mr. Bill for that. He makes a fantastic rifle. There's lots of good brands, lots of good options out there these days. That being said, Geissele is definitely one of the good options. For the Geissele 16-inch Super Duties, I have swapped the 15-inch Mark 16 rail these come with for a 13.5-inch Mark 4. The reason for that is I want to be able to put lasers and stuff at these 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock positions. The Mark 16 would require fasteners to do that. I like to get rid of fasteners anywhere I can. That being said, if you don't have lasers and things to put here, then I wouldn't worry about upgrading this rail. A slick side rail like the Mark 16 would probably be fine. There's a good chance you'll be shooting through VTAC barricades or other tight ports, and in those cases, these extra rail sections aren't doing you any favors. A slick-sided rail might be better. For optics, I highly recommend something with some magnification. I like this Trijicon Credo 2x10x36. It's a first focal plane MRAD reticle. Lots of guys that beat me use bullet drop compensators, so there's something to be said for that. The BDCs are quite effective these days, and there's lots of good options. I just recommend something with some magnification. I see some red dots with magnifiers. Those sometimes work, maybe sometimes don't. If you're shooting out to 500 yards, just be prepared for some of those long-range shots, and if the weather's windy that day, you might want to hold for wind, so keep that in mind also. I do have red dots at the 45 position. I see some mounted at 12 o'clock. I tried that, but my turrets are too tall for that with this particular optic, so mine ended up at 45. I still really like that setup. I put it to great use. Some events I end up using the secondary optic at 45 more than I use the primary optic up top. An optic mount that's going to hold zero is an absolute must. Your successful run depends on that. If you lose zero on the run, you're toast, and there's really no coming back from that. I like these Reptilia mounts. They are very tough, very rugged. I've never had one come loose on me. Note that there's no big bolts sticking out the side. They're going to dig into my back. There's no QD levers. I've gotten away from QD mounts after I had some come loose on me. Now I just run these Reptilia mounts with the fasteners here. My RMR is mounted completely separately from the primary optic. The reason for that is if these come loose, I don't want my RMR to have also lost zero. So the RMR is mounted completely independently of the primary optic. You could save a little bit of weight and put it in these attachment points here. I choose to forego that and mount it separately so that if something happens to my primary, I still have my backup optic, and I can clear most of the course of fire with just this if I have to. My red dots are mounted in Arisaka 45-degree mounts. These are adjustable so I can get my red dots a little bit closer to or further away from my primary optic. This is about as close as I can get the RMR 06s with the buttons on the sides. If your buttons are elsewhere on your red dot, maybe you could scoot it in a little bit closer and that'd be kind of nice. Note that all my optic fasteners get witness marks with a silver Sharpie. You want to be able to see if these are coming loose, and you want to know about it before it's too late. You want your sling to be in QD mounts. You can get hung up on stuff, trying to get your rifle on or off. You want to be able to eject and get out of your rifle if you have to, so your sling goes on QD mounts. I like these Reptilia mounts if your rifle doesn't have some built in. The Geissele Mark IV has these spots, but they could potentially be blocked by a laser, so I put these Reptilia mounts back here behind it. These are fantastic little pieces of gear. I really like them. For stock and grip, there's tons of good options, just personal preference. I like these rubbery Magpul ones, basic Magpul stock at the back with QD points, which I put to use. I choose not to store as many things on the rifles. Some of them have storage tubes here. I forego that. I store things on my chest rig, get things off my gun. I keep a battery or something in here possibly. But other than that, it's a pretty simple setup on the furniture at the rear. For the sling, you want something rugged and adjustable. I like these VTAC slings. Lots of people like their Blue Force gears. I see lots of things out there. Get something with a little bit of padding. You might be running a long ways with it. Should also be adjustable for length. You want to be able to cinch it up on your back if you're running a long ways, or loosen it out if you're going to shoot soon. You want to be able to sling your rifle, going over obstacles quickly, doing all kinds of stuff. So get something that's adjustable and that you're used to. Also, this needs to be said, go out and run your gear before the event. I see lots of guys show up with their first running gun. They've never actually ran very far in their stuff. Find a country road to run down. Find a friend that has a farm. Just find somewhere to run with your gear on. Even if you can't go shoot with it, just go run with it so you've tried that and you know what's going to wear on you over the course of a few miles. For the pointy end of the gun, I prefer to keep a break up front. Any bit of recoil mitigation I can get will be faster follow-up shots. For night events, I might put a can on, so I have QD mounts on both of these right now. I have YHM pattern stuff. I also have a direct thread Polonium K I can put on. It gets about the same amount of suppression as that YHM, but it's much smaller and lighter. So if I'm trying to game things for a night match, I might put something like this on. For chest rig, the main thing for me is to stay one deep. That is, I don't want to have to add pouches on top of pouches. So I don't want pistol mags on top of my rifle mags or double stacked rifle mags. I want to stay one deep for everything all the way across my chest. What that gets me is when I'm going under, doing a low crawl under a barbed wire fence, or doing vehicle work, or climbing over a wall, I don't have, my chest is much less bulky. So I'm trying to stay one deep wherever I can. That's what I like about this Esstac Chicom. I've got the 3 rifle mags in the middle. I've got 1 more speed reload on my belt, so that's 4 rifle mags as a standard loadout. I can add more elsewhere if I need to, but in general, I'm staying one deep on everything on my chest. So I've got 2 admin pistol reloads here. These are to put back on my belt, so when I'm reloading on the clock, I'm reloading from my belt. These are just to swap in later while I'm on the run. I can shuffle my mags around. I've got a general pouch here. I can put water in it. I can put extra ammo. I can put something to write on, whatever I need in this pouch. Keep a Sharpie, marker, pen, something to write with. Sometimes you may have intel things to write down. You may just have ROs with their iPad is down and they need something. They're scrambling around looking for something to write with. Just bring something to write with. It might come in handy. Keep your straps deconflicted. So again, go out and run before the match in your full loadout, including the ammo. Run with everything on. And practice maneuvering your rifle up front and back, because you got a lot of straps happening here. If you want to bring water or something in a backpack, I can wear this plus a backpack, but it's just a lot of straps happening at that point. So be prepared to deconflict those things and practice with it. For switches, illuminators, electronics, sometimes during the day I'll go ahead and strip these off. You're not going to need them for a running gun. If you don't want to gamer it, leave them on. That would be great too. Sometimes I also do that. In this case, I've got Arisaka mounts, Arisaka illuminators on both rifles. This one has a dual pad switch. I can run a laser also, but in general, these 2 rifles are completely interchangeable. I could swap electronics and such back and forth and not skip a beat. So in summary, bring a rifle you know is reliable, shooting in all positions, and accurate out to whatever range you think you'll need. That'll be 0 to 500 yards or whatever it is for that particular match. Other than that, go out and preview your gear. Run it with full loadout, full ammo, full everything. Make sure that everything's the way you want it to be, going over obstacles, going under obstacles, and covering miles of terrain. Other than that, we'll see you soon in the pistols and belt video.